So you guys have been escorted through the Shadar-Kai encampment to a tent where there is a Shadar-Kai here who seems like initially like kind of put out and like what the hell is all this, and then sees Enid and is absolutely gobsmacked. And he kind of hits his hands to his chest, bows to Enid, and says, oh, Mistress, I, I never thought. I'm sorry. I am Captain Nadahi. Uh, how may I address you,
You can just call me Enid. That's fine. Thank you.
Mistress Enid, and your companions? Oh, I see that you're all quite tired. Uh, we we've been waiting for you such a long time, but I don't want to overwhelm you. Can we find you a tent and a quarters that you may rest, and then we will talk.
Uh, yes. Internal screaming in Enid's brain. um, yeah, my friends and I are quite tired.
Good. My men will find tents for you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Mr. Enid, we are so glad that you're here.
Me too.
A couple of the Shadar-Kai come in and start to escort you out. As you start to leave the commander's tent, he says, "May I know you're tired. The troops, I'm sure they would appreciate just a little demonstration before you take just one before you take your rest. Would you Shaddeth bless us with your power and show the troops that you are true and you are here?"
Okay, so does that mean, just so Renee understands, like that he wants a rousing speech for inspiration, or that he just wants Enid to cast like some sort of crazy spell?
Give me an insight check.
God, I'm not ready for speech.
Grikiki helpfully suggests, do the screaming thing.
Roll with disadvantage.
Damn it! No! Oh yeah, because I'm exhausted. Damn. Damn. What am I doing? Insight? At least I'm proficient in that. Hold on. I'm gonna flip my notebook. 13.
13. Okay, with Grikiki's helpful suggestion, you're not sure that it's like a yelling thing, but like Captain Nadahi is making assumptions that you're not like tracking, basically.
Yeah.
Like what he wants you to do, you're like, I don't know. What is this? He did say a demonstration of power, so you don't think it's a speech thing.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm looking up a spell list here, and I'm just like, this is not very inspirational. Not quite impressive, really.
I'm waiting at the ready with prestidigitation to add a little razzmatazz to whatever it is she does.
Some jazz hands.
I don't know. I think that thing with the screams is pretty.
Oh yeah.
Shadow
gets everyone's attention.
Might be inspiring.
Yeah. So
Hang on.
this is what I'm thinking about doing.
They're Raven Queen servants, right? Maybe something to do with Sharon?
Yeah, I think just a normal Raven sounds right, but I have an idea.
Would you bless us with the demonstration?
Of course. Yep.
Thank you.
Terrified and absolutely intimidated all at once.
He leaves the command tent with you. As you guys leave the command tent, it looks like the whole frickin' army has converged on you. And as you all emerge, many of the troops are like looking up at you like, and you hear whisper, the Shaddeth is here. There's this huge hundreds of these Shadar-Kai troops, as well as some other creatures that you can't quite identify, humanoid type things. Captain Nadahi steps forward and he says, "The Shaddeth has agreed to provide a demonstration
Mm.
of the Raven Queen's power.
Mm.
May I have a volunteer?
Oh,
And, like,
no.
dozens of hands like shoot up. They're like, some of them are like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Some of them are like doing the like grade school thing of like using their other hand to like lift their arm higher. Dozens of these Shadar-Kai are volunteering. Captain Nadahi is kind of looking, and eventually he points and says, "You soldier." And a Shadar-Kai pushes through the troops. He comes up to you all, and Captain Nadahi Nadahi says, "What's your name, soldier?" He says, I'm Private Yulishi, sir." And he is just like as excited as can be. And Nadahi says, "Private, you're brave. We will do you honor." And Private Yulishi is like, yes sir, please manifest your power on me."
Oh shit, she knows his name.
Nadahi has Private Yulishi stand about 20 feet away. There's a circle now around the private, and Captain Nadahi looks expectantly at you, Enid.
Cool. All right, I have a plan. It's fine. All right, so I'm going to exhaustedly, damn it, stupid exhaustion, cast Shadow Blade, and I'm gonna do it like attempted extra flourishy, but that's not Enid's forte like at all.
Yep.
So probably doesn't look very well. And then like with the Shadow Blade all glowing with its purple and shadowy energy, the weird demon part of it, whatever. She's dead silent this whole time, and then she's just gonna stare at Ensign "Murder me, please," and she's just gonna stand there, and then she's gonna take her scythe. She's gonna like swing it, and then instead of hitting him, she's gonna embed the blade into the ground, like right, like enough so that like if he like in an anime, you know, like in a serious movie, if he had like his hair wafting like this, like a slice of it just got cut, you know, and then the scythe just into the ground. I'll let it go. It stays there.
Awesome.
Enough like. Maybe he got like a tiny cut or something, but like very slight, like he didn't die.
Awesome. Give
and then
me a performance check, please.
Cool. I was also gonna say something with that.
Okay,
you want me to say it now or after?
Yes.
Okay. Then after like I embed the scythe into the ground, I'm just going to turn to the circle crowd. Man, Enid does not like talking to people at all. This is
Everyone's
nice.
eyes are on Enid.
Wonderful. And I'm just gonna like call out as loud as my exhausted little Enid can go. I think there's been a misunderstanding. The power of the Raven Queen isn't in killing in every single moment. It's knowing when to kill and when to let live. You've been blessed with continuing the battle and fighting with the Raven Queen. There's power in choice and not in taking choice away from others. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, let's do performance first.
Okay. With disadvantage because I'm exhausted. At least it's charisma, so I can use my feet.
Can Aezsh do guidance to like?
Yeah,
she's
okay. To help her. And Belloryn, are you going to take the opportunity to do some prestidigitation here?
Yes. Let's.
Yeah, before Enid steps up, squeezes Aezsh's hand, visibly shaking, and then tries to get it under control.
Yep. Yeah, guidance.
Let's conjure like the light, radiant moonlight, like she's been caught in the middle of a glade.
Awesome.
So in this dark, it will almost be like a follow spot on her.
Okay, so roll a flat performance and add a d4.
Okay. Performance, you said?
Yep.
Okay. 20.
Ooh. All right, now give me a persuasion with advantage based on that performance check.
Cool. So that just means straight because I would have.
No, ignoring your tiredness.
Oh. Yep. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Ooh. Okay. And then that's still charisma, but I don't get guidance on this one, do I?
No.
No, because that's the only one. But I still get my feet. So 26.
Holy shit! All right, so Enid, you do your flourish thing, and you kind of like scare the private Yulishi, and you kind of give your speech to the crowd. There is silence after you finish your little spiel. Um, you can tell that the troops assembled here are somewhat moved by what you had to say for them, but no insight required. You also know that there is a bit of disappointment in the assembled.
What am I if not a disappointment?
Aww. Captain Nadahi leans forward and says, "Mistress, that was quite amazing. Do you have the gift from the Raven Queen that you might be able to show the troops?"
I think perhaps after a night's rest. It's been quite a long journey getting here. Lying through my teeth. I have no idea what he's saying.
Of course. He kind of he straightens up after whispering in her ear, and he says, "The Shaddeth is tired. She will give a demonstration after having rested." Enid, actually, the whole party can see there is a definite sense of disappointment. Like, these troops were like expecting something, and they did not get what they expected. They're not like angry about it. They're just like there was this hope in their eyes, and that hope has kind of bled out a little bit.
You know what? I gotta say, I don't feel bad about disappointing people that are okay with owning slaves. Kind of feels like a win.
Okay, so yeah, the crew is a little bit disappointed, but they escort you to your tents. Each of you gets your own private tent to settle down. They give you some snacks to enjoy before you rest. All of you, you're not entirely sure how long it's been in terms of time, but it's been a long time since you all have had a rest. So yeah, what's everyone doing? Aezsh, what's Aezsh doing? Being presented to this tent and some snacks.
Aezsh is pretty exhausted at this point, so he will gladly accept some food that wasn't what we had to scavenge off the ground. But I think before he's gonna go like lay down or anything, he's gonna like check in on Enid after that, because that surely had to have been very out of her element. So he wants to make sure she's all right after that that speech and performance and whatnot.
Yeah. Enid, you get escorted to this tent. You're kind of standing there, kind of nonplussed for a little bit, and then Aezsh pulls up the tent flap.
All right, I'm gonna be like, oh, thank God! Run to him, tackle and hug.
You did such a good job out there.
That was awful. This was a terrible
such a good job.
mistake.
Are there any Shadar-Kai like around us right now?
No, it seems like they like took you to your tents, but they've more or less left you alone. Like, they're not guarding you or anything.
What do you think it is they're wanting you to do? Do you have any idea?
No.
So Enid, as Aezsh asks that, and you say no,
Well,
you realize, since you have entered the Shadowfell, there's a little kernel of power inside of you, and it's like you've like kind of ignored it. You're like, la la la, that's not there, and so like your subconscious mind has been like thinking about it, but you've been like trying to ignore it. And as Aezsh asked that question, you realize that there is this kernel of power that you could tap into.
Well, I think the closer we get to the Raven Queen, the more access I have to her powers. And I think they want like a bit of that, but I have absolutely no idea what that would be like. And obviously they're fine with killing a dude, so.
I mean, he seemed pretty excited for it to happen, but that still seems very odd.
Hmm.
So I guess as long as you think you know what to do, like I trust you to take care of it.
I think I'm going to try to just get around it as much as possible. Is my plan.
We do need their help to get
Yeah, I know.
to the Raven
I
Queen.
know. Just want to get this over with and done.
Okay. Well, we should both get some rest because I'm about to fall over.
Me too.
So
Me too.
Aezsh heads out to his own tent to get some
Nope.
rest.
You do not.
Oh.
Get nagged. You're staying here.
Okay. I'll be right back. Aezsh runs over to his tent and grabs the bedroll and drags it over.
And snacks, and you guys have like a sleepover. Okay.
Sleepover.
Awesome. You get shown to your tent. What's Grikiki's plan status here?
Snacks. It's snack time. Are any of the snacks good?
Yeah, actually, they're not bad.
Awesome.
Yep.
Things are looking up for Kiki.
And then going to bed after having a little bit of a snack.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay, great. Belloryn?
All right, I am going to snack briefly, and then just sort of take a walk around the campsite and see if I can't identify sort of a group of arcane soldiers, and take a look at their gear and see if they have anything that might be able to outfit me.
Okay, great. Yeah, so go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw, first of all.
Okay. Constitution saving throw. 17.
Okay, great. You are able to stave off your tiredness and head back out into the encampment and kind of cruise around. As you do so, you realize that everyone basically recognizes you as a companion of the Shaddeth, and they give you an appropriate amount of space, so nobody's like being very intrusive, but they're also like they give you like the like polite nod sort of thing. So you have the run of this camp without any like obstacle, basically. And give me a perception check, please.
Sure. $14.
Okay. You encounter or you hear a couple of areas where you think there might be active training. It sounds like there's one where you hear like some swords clinging on each other, or maybe you like hitting shields or that sort of thing. But you don't find any like concentrated group of spellcasting magic user types.
All right. If I encounter even one, I'll ask if I can interrupt briefly and see if they can point me towards a suitable arcane focus that they can spare.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So yeah, asking around the camp, it seems like you don't get anywhere useful with that goal. Like you find out that there are a variety of magic users in the camp, and in fact, Captain Nadahi's primary right hand person is Lieutenant Edris, who is themselves a magic user, but no like items of power
All right.
or that would be useful for you.
Well, then, skunked on that, I am going to head back to my area and get some sleep.
Got it. All right. Jeer Falcon.
Is there like a mirror or like a water basin or something reflective in the room, in the tent?
There's not. There's like a ewer of water, like a silver pitcher type thing, for you to drink from, but not like intended for reflective surface.
Okay, then I'm going to pour myself some water, throw it back, and say, "What the hell happened back there? Why did I say those things? I mean, I am not above torture, but there has to be a point. It's purely pragmatic. It's not. I don't do it for its own sake. I need to get out of here. We need to find Kida. The only way to do that is to help Enid complete the whatever task the Raven Queen has given her. Oh God. They're probably going to be looking at me real funny when they remember. It might be time. It might be time for me to tell them. And then I'm going to go to bed.
All right, awesome. Jeremiah, you don't require, food or sleep. So you're put into this tent and there's food and there's a bedroll and you're momentarily confused.
Very kind of them, if unnecessary. Since I don't require any of that, I'm gonna go out and see if I can find kind of a group of soldiers, see if anyone's like getting food, socializing, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. What's your intent?
I'm basically trying to find a group that I can like sit down and talk with
Okay.
and kind of ask some questions.
Yeah, no problem. They identify you as a companion of the Shaddeth, and everyone gives you, a reasonable amount of respect. Not like you're like a high-ranking officer, or certainly not what they gave to Enid, but they like acknowledge Jeremiah and like, oh yes, okay.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna sit down with them, and Jeremiah is very good at being casual, so he's just gonna kind of lean over and be like, "So, how long have you all been out here?"
Got it. Yeah. So they can give you some information. I'm actually going to story because Captain Nadahi is going to give you all of that tomorrow, unless you want to do anything with that information tonight, I guess, or while the rest of the crew is sleeping.
Right. I was gonna kind of lead into like, what is the Shaddeth?
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of line.
Yep. All right. Great. Okay. And then Ratha, anything in particular? Just going to bed.
Yeah, Ratha's probably tired and just heading to bed. Yeah, I guess did they? I'll say she's gonna have like take a look around just briefly before heading to bed. Do they seem to keep any like mounts or any kind of beasts around here, or is it strictly infantry troops?
No, there are some hounds, some shadow hounds actually that that Ratha recognizes as being very similar to the ones that attacked you all, that then answered Enid's commands.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. She's just wanted to kind of check those out, see what was up, and then she's probably just going to head to bed and get some rest.
Okay.
She had a stressful day.
Yes. Okay, Falcon, you find that you have a little bit of a hard time getting to sleep. You're kind of tossing and turning. Your mind's, kind of all over the place. Are you going to stay in your tent, or and keep trying to get sleep, or do something different?
Has he gotten enough rest to get rid of exhaustion?
No, like this is like Falcon's like laying his head down and like tries to go to like closes his eyes, feels tired, but like his brain is just like wee.
Okay, first of all, do the Shadar-Kai speak Common or Elven?
They spoke Common to you.
Okay, that makes a difference. I guess Jir's gonna get up and walk around, try and tire himself out a little bit, clear his head.
All right. You step out of your tent. Your tent is actually like at the edge of the encampment. Dear Falcon, on the one hand, you hear like some drilling sort of going on, like some people hitting on swords and shields, maybe some fight training. On the other hand, you see the darkening wood forest extending away from the camp.
Hmm. Well, I'm definitely not going towards the woods.
Okay.
Because that's not my scene. I'm gonna go back over towards the sounds of drilling.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you head towards the sound of drilling. You see a small clearing in the encampment, and you see a female Shadar-Kai with a super small, slim blade, and she is like fighting one-on-one with one of the soldiers in the army, and eventually like kind of handily deals with him. She kind of looks over at you, as do all the other troops as you approach, and nods at you. Says, "You are a companion of the Shaddeth. Would you care to join us in sparring?"
I would, but you'll have to forgive me if I'm not at my best. It's been a while since we've been on the road for a while, but I'll do my best. You may call me Jir Falcon.
Dear Falcon, my name is Neshia. Certainly. What is your weapon of choice?
I have two. I have this sword, and I have another that was gifted from me from my father. But I tend to save that. For, let's say, really scary opponents, like big nasty things.
Well then, arm yourself. And Neshia looks not, looks, I don't know how to describe her. Not like particularly attractive. Like she's got some scars. Looks like kind of dark and haunted. Looks very capable, I would say. Okay, Dear Falcon, you engage with Neshia, and she, you're not that. She's definitely better than you, but not that much.
I'm like
And
holding my own.
Go ahead.
So I'm like holding my own more or less.
More or less, yeah. She's definitely like a little bit better than you. You're kind of learning like as you're fighting with her. She's a little bit faster for sure. After you have your sparring match, she nods and says, "Well, you're well met, Geofalcon, companion of the Shaddeth. I hope to see you more on the battlefield."
Likewise.
Yeah, Dear Falcon, after a little bit of that kind of physical exertion, you feel like you probably get a pretty good night's sleep at this point. All right, you all sleep. You all get to sleep. The next day, Captain Nadahi meets you, and Jeremiah, you basically get the same information that Nadahi is going to tell you all right now, which is just a huge info dump. All right, so Nadahi tells you that this army of Shadar-Kai has been encircling the Eladrin for the past 80 years. The Eladrin have been there for about 100 years. Their encircling the Raven Queen's Palace of Ice prevents her from physically leaving it and limits her extension of power beyond the edges of the lake. The Shadar-Kai, or Captain Adi also tells you, the Shadar-Kai, in contrast to the elves and the Eladrin, are not immortal. So this is about the 5th generation of troops that have been encircling this other army. Captain Nadahi wasn't here, when it initially started. He's like been here just the past 5 years. And he is in charge of these troops. The Eladrin are laying siege to the Palace of Ice because they believe that the Raven Queen is an evil influence. They have been told by their god, Corlin Lorethion, that the Shadow Queen is evil and needs to be contained. The Shadar-Kai, of course, believe that this is nonsense. Corlin is notorious for being very quixotic. Like his decisions as a like being of great power are ridiculous. And as you guys are talking to Nadahi, you realize that like your concept of gods is very different than what he's saying. Like he is using Corlin as if this is an entity that actually exists and like exerts power in the world. Whereas you all, like, there are religions, of course, on Andrel and in the Belusian sphere, but nobody draws power from those beings. So it's a little bit of like a cultural, like, wait, what are you talking about? Like Corlin actually like has real power, and the Ladrin like draw that power from him. So they seem, his interpretation is that they are misguided, and he does not have the troops to break the siege. He just has enough to prevent them from like doing more damage, basically. Every generation, every 20 years or so, the Raven Queen sends a band of heroes to help the Shadar-Kai break the siege. And he says that in the past, these heroes have always like basically formed like insertion teams, like special ops type teams, and like done like specific things. But they have always been destroyed by Pelorian's powerful arch sorcerer Garistos. Garistos is called the Adventure's End, and he is the one that is dispatched to eliminate heroes that attempt to help the Shadar-Kai army. So Garistos is a serious problem for the Shadar-Kai breaking the siege here. He also tells you that about a week ago, time is kind of relative, but relatively recently, the Raven Queen ordered him to dispatch a number of units to Blackley Fortress. Blackley Fortress is the dwelling of Lord Aezsh. And he is doing some kind of powerful magical working that the Raven Queen does not approve of and wants disrupted. So Lord Aezsh is a lich in Blackley Fortress. He's doing some powerful working. Nadahi sent some troops there to try to interfere with that, but they are basically laying siege to Blackley Fortress, but are not able to penetrate the fortress itself. And partly because of that, there are not as many troops here around the Eladrin encampment. So there's a variety of problems, and he is looking for you guys to solve all of them. He is convinced that Enid, the Shaddeth, is going to do that. And then the Shaddeth, he doesn't know. Nobody actually, Jeremiah, your intelligence gathering, as well as talking to Dahi, he doesn't know what the translation is. This is a title Nobody understands what this means. It's in a language they don't know. But it's basically like a title that they attach to prophets and prophetesses of the Raven Queen. And they are able to identify the Shaddeth at a glance, basically. Let's see. So the problems are Gristos, powerful arch sorcerer that Nadahi at least believes could destroy all of you. And then a bunch of the army is surrounding Blackleaf Fortress, where Lord Aezsh is doing some magical working. So in desiring to break the siege around the Palace of Ice, these are the obstacles that Nadahi presents you with.
Do we get the impression when he's talking about the previous adventures that there have been multiple Shaddeths, or this is the single iteration of the Shaddeth?
Oh, good question. No, there have been.
No
it's
one's
not,
like me, baby.
Yeah, basically with every group of heroes, one of them is the Shaddeth.
Lots
No,
of people are like you and they're dead now.
Good. Technically, I mean, it's kind of dead.
Does he say why the Raven Queen herself hasn't been able to kind of get rid of the siege?
Oh, that's a good question. He doesn't know exactly. He speculates that it is the power of the Eladrin channeling their god, basically, that is keeping her from using her full power. So she's having to act through like agents and pawns because Corlin Larithian is obstructing her direct interference.
Do you know what Lord Aezsh is doing or working on? Maybe there's something in his tower that we could use to our benefit.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, Blackleaf Fortress. So Lord Aezsh is doing some kind of magical working that it seems like it's gathering more and more power. So disrupting that would be worthwhile, and that would free up those troops that are around that fortress to join the main army, to rejoin the main army, and that would make it much more likely to break the siege around the Palace of Ice. As to what he's doing, it is Nadahi does not know, but the Raven Queen is worried about it.
I'll turn to the. I think maybe if we focus on that problem first, it's a bit. I don't want to say smaller, but I think doing that then will help with the other problem, because I feel like from what everyone else did before, stealth and subterfuge is not the way to go, since that's what they've tried previous and it's not gonna work. I think strength and numbers is what we really need. Try something different. And fighting Lord Aezsh will give us those soldiers and potentially anything else that's in his power.
Is Lord Aezsh the one that Zyron specifically warned us
Yes,
to
he
stay away
was.
from?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Yep. The one the shareholder company has feelings with, which is great because we can continue screwing over our family. It's fine.
Do we have any idea of like how powerful a being Lord Aezsh is, particularly relative to like someone like Garistos?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Is this like, because we know that this guy sure thinks Garistos will like wreck us?
Yes.
What is his impression of our chances?
Anybody with Arcana proficiency, go ahead and roll it. As Nadahi describes the spells that Garistos can cast.
I know nothing. I rolled a nat 1.
Oof.
For 3, I think, or for 4.
All right,
That's an 11.
Belloryn, do you have Arcana? No. Oh shit. Okay. And then, does anybody have religion proficiency?
Don't.
I do actually.
Oh, awesome.
Professor.
That's a 22.
Ooh. All right, Jeremiah, you know that as a general rule, liches are extremely powerful magic users. Definitely like archmage level and higher. In like meta terms, they're usually like 20th level plus characters that can cast 9th level spells.
Love it.
Based on what you guys hear from Garistos, the use of the word arch sorcerer implies that he can cast 9th level spells as well. So you're going to guess that Lord Aezsh is probably more powerful than Garistos, but it's kind of close.
But the thing is that Garistos we have to defeat. Lord Aezsh, we just have to stop. Like, we have to kill Garistos or get rid of him from the plane. Lord Aezsh, we just have to mess up his plans. If that involves a machine in some way, we just have to inhibit him for a little while.
And can we get? Is it possible for us to, with what he was telling us about him sending soldiers to go disrupt what Aezsh was doing? Do we know like what they're like, in what way they were attempting to disrupt him? Because like, killing him doesn't seem like the idea.
Yeah. So the vision was to basically like break into Blackleaf Fortress and like disrupt whatever it is Lord Aezsh is doing, but they like hold up and they do not have the military might to invade the fortress.
Thanks.
But Nadahi believes that if there was you all basically showed up and made a demonstration of force, that would force Lord Aezsh to go into the field, basically, because if he didn't, if you guys got into the fortress and did like the special ops thing, that would be a serious problem for him. So it's like you guys go, put on a display, draw the troops out onto the field, do battle with them, and then if you're able to defeat them, move into the fortress and fuck up everything.
I mean, to be really technical, we don't have to do anything with Lord Aezsh. We need to free the Raven Queen.
Yes.
Lord Aezsh, Raven Queen problem.
Yep. No, exactly. And so you guys could mount an assault against the Eladrin just with the army that you have here with Nadahi, realizing that it is depleted because a bunch of troops are off sieging Blackleaf Fortress.
We're not
could
sneaking
the
in.
Shaddeth just order them back? Do we care what they do with Lord Aezsh?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Nadahi is not able to contravene the Raven Queen's orders on this regard. So those troops are there unless you guys are able to free them up.
Because we're not strictly getting the Raven Queen out of the palace, we're just stopping the Eladrin.
Right.
Yeah. She probably wants to continue living at home, I guess. But we're going to war.
And
Yay.
given that the Eladrin aren't fully encircling the lake, is there a reason why the Shadar-Kai can't go across the other side of the lake?
Oh, thank you. Yes. So there is an ice bridge that forms from the island that the Palace of Ice is on to basically where the Eladrin encampment is. So there's no other practical way to get to the Palace of Ice besides that ice bridge. So that's why the Eladrin are camped out there, step number one. And number two, there is a powerful divination spell around the lake that if anybody approaches it that is not an Eladrin, that they get alerted and dispatch forces, etc. So even if you sent troops to get to the lake, one, they couldn't get to the Palace of Ice, and two, they would alert the Eladrin, and then there would be a battle wherever that was.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if this is something I can do, but considering that Jeremiah has experience with like military and kind of a knowledge of that, bearing that in mind, does he have a sense of like how even or uneven the combat forces are basically between the Eladrin and the Shadar-Kai?
Yeah, definitely. Give me an insight check with advantage.
Yeah. Okay. That's good because I have no bonuses.
Could Ratha help with that since she was also there, like observing the maps and everything?
Ratha could roll separately on her own, just a straight roll.
Okay. All right.
Which might be wise because I got a 10 because I have no bonuses.
All right. You said insight?
Yep.
Okay. Nope. That's an 8.
Okay. Jeremiah, I mean, even with a 10, that's not terrible. The Shadar-Kai army is definitely smaller than the Eladrin. And based on what Nadahi is telling you, the Eladrin are immortal. You know, like those people have had thousands of years to become competent fighters. The Shadar-Kai have had, 5 or 10 years of training. So not only are they, it's a smaller force and they're probably less well prepared, but Nadahi definitely puts a lot of stock in the value of each of you on the battlefield. So it's plausible. It's plausible if you guys take the field with the troops, that would be enough to turn it. It's if you had the troops from Blackley Castle, that would definitely be a lot better. So like it's not exactly a Hail Mary if you guys go and fight with what you have right now, but it's maybe like 20 to 50% likelihood of success. Whereas if you got the additional troops, that would be closer to 50 to 70% success likelihood.
Okay.
Bet they'd all fight a lot harder with a little demonstration from the Shaddeth.
Yes, that's true.
They haven't asked yet. This morning. We just woke up. We're still drinking our coffee. I know nothing about it, but what about, do any of you guys know anything about this god that they keep talking about? The one that
Yeah,
says
Jeremiah
something
can
bad?
roll religion.
Sorry, I timed that right when you took a bite. I did that on purpose.
They say if it's the elven god, would Ratha have any knowledge of that?
Yes,
there's, like,
Ratha can also roll religion.
21.
Nice.
Cool. Also, wait, 23 with a nat 20.
Oh,
Nice.
okay, so both Ratha and Jeremiah can fill you guys in, and Nadahi is not shy about sharing this information either. That in the dawn of time, Corlin Lorethian was this god and had these fey creatures that he created, who were the Eladrin. But he is a very flighty, capricious entity. And so there were a variety of these Ladrin that didn't like that. Some of them decided to go to the material plane, basically, and they became the elves. Others, who were led by the Raven Queen, went to the Shadowfell and became the Shadar-Kai and became mortal. So Corlin, he's not a great guy, honestly. Like he's again very capricious, kind of a dick, just like he's like, I know what's best and fuck you, and so not a great guy, but obviously the Ladrin continue to worship him, and you guys do know that in places other than the Belysian sphere, gods actually have like power.
Do we have any idea why they would still be able to wield that kind of power within the Belysian sphere?
Well, you guys are in the Shadowfell now.
Oh, we're in the Shadowfell, so we're outside of the sphere.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yes. You are a different. You are in a different plane of existence.
So in a different plane.
Nadahi also shares with you that they have contemplated a variety of strategies for dealing with Goristos, but he doesn't have the experienced manpower to deal with it. So he gives you a few options. So he knows of a couple of things that might help. Not suggesting them, but he's like, if you want to do this to deal with Goristos, this is a way that we can do it. There is a shadow dragon, Srio Menax, that they've had dealings with before. Maybe they could get that shadow dragon to be an ally. He knows where there is a sphere of annihilation, which is a artifact which, when it touches something, obliterates it from reality. So he knows where that is. And then he also knows where there's another artifact that creates an anti-magic zone, which would help shut out Garistos's power. So
And ours.
yes, exactly. Totally anti-magic zone. So he mentions that not like this is the way we should do it, but he's like, in case you wanted to, these are things that we have talked about for dealing with this extremely powerful arch sorcerer.
How far away are those artifacts and the dragon?
Not far. He says they're all within like relatively short, a couple of like 1 or 2 long rests around.
Because as a potential, and I know it always goes so well to split the party, but having multiple things kind of on our side to help with that would not be a bad idea.
I know we want to get Kida as fast as possible, but we have one shot at this. If it takes a little bit of time to ensure success, it might be worth it.
Yeah, if we get caught and wiped out by the Eladrin, nobody's
no hope
coming
for
for
Kida.
Kida.
So we need to go far enough just to make sure that we'll win.
Would any of these artifacts be of use against Lord Aezsh?
That's a really interesting question. I don't think Nadahi has thought about that because, like, Aezsh is a pretty recent phenomenon in terms of being a problem. Like, he's always been there. He's like a lich and intelligent and dead and like fucking things up. But it's only relatively recently that the Raven Queen is like, you need to deal with this issue. So I don't think that he's thought about how to deal with that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, for sure, any of those that would help with Garistos would help with Lord Aezsh, for sure.
We work quick. We might be able to get things done relatively fast.
I do think perhaps it is a good idea to divide our forces to maximize the amount of, or minimize perhaps the amount of time spent retrieving these things.
Depends on...
Do we have any intelligence on how well the artifacts are guarded?
Who's got a question?
Yeah, that is a good question. So Nadahi tells you the Striomanax, the Shadow Dragon, he lives on a peak not too far away and has a variety of like creatures that like answer to him. So it would be a question of like how to convince Striomanax to side with you all. The Sphere of Annihilation, Nadahi knows where that is, and that is kept in he thinks he's identified that it is in a tomb, not very far away, an underground tomb. In terms of like difficulty of getting to, like he has sent troops to all of these things and they have not come back. So he knows that they are at least
strong with all of them.
Yeah, somewhat difficult. And then the anti-magic artifact he knows is being kept by like an order of monks are unwilling to let it go, basically. There seems to be some kind of test involved there. Like you send a bunch of guys and they like try to do the test. They don't get killed, but they come back and they're like, sorry, the monks wouldn't give it to me.
I don't like the Sphere of Annihilation. I'm saying that both as a player and as Falcon, because I feel like that could be more dangerous than Garistos, potentially.
Yeah, dangerous game of dodgeball.
The most dangerous game.
If we had... Oh, I'm so sorry.
I was just going to say the Sphere of Annihilation feels like a whole party endeavor if we were to try that. But maybe with the anti-magic, we send the non-magic users. And then for the dragon, definitely want to send the Shaddeth to be like, we really would like your help. That would be great.
Unless he hates the Raven Queen, in which case this is all for naught.
I was thinking Belloryn needs to go talk to the dragon too. I know you don't have draconic ancestry, so you don't get that advantage, but you're still pretty good at convincing people.
And then when it comes time for battle, I think our main two... I'm already at the war, guys. Good strategy would be like hand the anti-magic thingy to Grikiki. and or Geartalk and have you guys run up. You guys focus on that dude. Hopefully, because he won't be magical, you guys can easily punch him up a little bit and shoot him with your arrow. And then we, since we can't, the rest of us, and I guess Ratha. Nope, she would immediately turn back into a person. She can run in there as like a dog and then just like turn into Ratha halfway and then no. And the rest of us could go fight General Belloryn.
Would the anti-magic field neutralize Grikiki and Jeer's magic implements?
Yes, but at least they have things non-magical.
Would it stop?
Would they?
Okay, would it take away
Max?
all of Salamandra's damage or just the fire damage?
Give me an Arcana check.
Non-natural 20.
What?
Nice.
Yeah, it would, Jeer Falcon. So even though like gunpowder is a thing, it's always an alchemical, like somewhat magical substance in the Belusian sphere, and so Salamander relies on magic to function, basically.
Well, you got a sword.
I do have a sword.
Slice them up.
Would it affect Grikiki's like barbarian skills?
It would not like the rage, but any of the spiritual stuff. Yeah, that's all magic.
Okay.
So,
Sounds
but
like-
even still, if all he
I'm
relies
totally
on
non-magical.
is, if all he relies on is magic, that is a significant advantage already. But that is.
You might still be a big dude.
You know, we all just tackle him. But first, I guess if we're gonna get these objects, we have to get these objects. Yeah, I'm kind of
Is
into it.
that one-time use?
I don't. Nadahi does not have that much knowledge about it. He doesn't have that much intelligence about it. He just knows that this thing exists that might be able to shut down Garistos.
This is the
That's
one with the
basically, like
monks.
over the years, like he's
Mhm.
just gathered like intelligence and information about like things that he might be able to use to deal with this arch sorcerer.
This one seems very important
Yeah, I like that.
to me.
Oh, one more question. Would an anti-magic field fuck up a dragon?
You know, with that 20 Arcana Jeer Falcon, you don't think that a dragon could fly in an anti-magic field, and a lot of its powers would not be there, including its breath weapon. It could still like claw and bite things.
Right, it's still a dragon.
Still,
Just one that can't breathe fire or fly.
Right.
well. So it
So
sounds
do
like
we
we
go to-
definitely want the anti-magic thing. Do we want? And it sounds like most
Nadahi
people.
also, I'm sorry, very important detail. Nadahi also tells you that it looks like Lord Aezsh's magical working is going to be complete in 2 long rest cycles, basically like days.
And is that potentially going to inhibit us in any way?
Yeah, Nadahi
Hmm.
thinks because the
Yeah.
Raven Queen is very worried about this. Like, if Lord Aezsh finishes that working, it's probably going to destroy all of the army around Blackleaf Fortress and could have significant repercussions beyond that.
So we have to deal with that. Okay.
So we deal
Yeah,
with
because we
him
wouldn't even have
first.
time to get the artifact.
Yeah, we deal with
Yeah.
him first.
Oh,
We come
Right.
back.
Then
so
we-
it's- so yeah,
And
it's
round
basically
trip.
like if you're gonna do anything that's like the first thing, or again just like attack the
And hope
Eladrin with what
to
you
get
got.
it done before he. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, either attack with nothing or take care of Lord Aezsh so we can have fun toys.
precisely,
And more troops.
and more.
I think trying to get more troops is probably the best
Mhm.
call.
Agreed.
And then we can go after one or more of these artifacts.
I agree.
Besides that,
Even though
sounds like whatever Lord Aezsh is working on is extremely nasty. We don't need something else that's gonna be a
Yeah,
problem,
I'm
especially
I'm
some
just worried.
who's
Just
just
worried because Zyron was warning us specifically about this guy to steer clear. That he was very dangerous.
Either that or he also said he was working with the shareholder company. Zion works for them. Maybe they just don't want us to hurt him.
That is a possibility.
true.
Though it seemed
If
it
that's
seemed
true,
from his message more like he was concerned for our sake.
that could lead to information on your parents, though, if he's had dealings with the shareholder company.
I suppose it's a possibility.
It seems a remote possibility, but
a possibility
a
nonetheless.
possibility.
Well,
I think it's more incentive for us to deal with him first.
I'm always open to screwing over the shareholder company.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Well, they're
that's the way to
powerful and
go.
rich, so me too.
Don't agree with me, Dear Falcon. It makes me very uncomfortable.
You guys gonna head to Blacklee Fortress to figure out what's going on with Lord Aezsh?
Yeah, are we am I getting away without doing the whole I do have a question though. Are there no are there the slaves that we saw earlier, are they apparent in this space?
No, Jeremiah was wandering around. Was anybody else wandering around last night? I can't remember.
Belloryn did a little bit.
Belloryn, yeah, okay. You guys didn't spot any slaves evident when you were kind of cruising around
But it was definitely the Shadar-Kai who had slaves
Yep.
earlier.
Yep.
Well, it was the Shadar-Kai who were carrying people off somewhere. We didn't get in close enough to find out what they were.
Right.
I guess we're not 100% if that was
Yeah. And
We
actually,
just know we got alignment deducted. So they were probably slaves.
And putting two and two together, that band of troops that you saw were the Shadar-Kai going to Blacklee Fortress.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, smart. You know, what's his name? Nahadi?
Nadahi?
Nadahi. Sorry, I said it the wrong way around. Nadahi, yeah. I think we saw your troop heading to Lord Aezsh, but we saw people with them that didn't seem to be soldiers. What were they? Just so we know all of the resources available.
Oh yes, of course.
Lying through my teeth.
I mean, we employ slaves to build bulwarks, to serve as cooks, and to do a wide variety of tasks. You can't have soldiers doing such things.
Doesn't the Raven Queen advocate for complete and total freedom of every living being, though? Isn't that one of her core principles?
I suppose it's just the way that we've always done things.
And that's a reason to continue doing them this way. Isn't that why all the previous Shaddeths and their teams have failed? For continuing to do the same thing over and over again?
Well, possibly, mistress. If you wish for us to release the slaves, I will do as you command, but realize that then our troops will have to do those duties, and there will be fewer that we can put into the field.
You could pay them. That's how it usually works. Is when people work for you, you pay them.
Yes, money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Let's think about that. I'm not sure that we have those resources.
Do you have money?
Or an agreement?
No, we mostly do an exchange system. There's no towns or whatnot to purchase anything from.
Who do you exchange with?
Well, we have our resources, farms and such like that supply us.
Where do you get your slaves?
We often capture them. They're often like traveling around the woods or wherever we encounter them. If we have a battle, we take whatever we can.
Well, perhaps you should be thinking of a new system. A way without slaves.
Certainly, mistress. Yes, we would be happy to do whatever you ask. Yesterday I appreciated your demonstration of your scythe. I know you were tired. I think the troops are the troops are not as emboldened as I would hope they would be. We're still waiting for you to demonstrate the full power of the Queen's might.
Of course. Sure.
Would you care to demonstrate? I believe the private is still amenable to being a volunteer.
I don't think we need a volunteer. Question. First off, do I feel like I can access the tiny little kernel of power? Okay.
Yes, 100%.
Does it have to be targeted at someone?
You're not sure.
Damn, that's very
You've
unfortunate.
never tried touching it before.
I really want to kill someone. I mean, it's just not really like my vibe. Like.
This is really throwing off my vibes. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
Mistress, should I summon Private Yulishi and can we have a demonstration? I know, especially if you're asking the troops to work more. If you're going to abolish the slaves, that would go a long ways towards them being enthusiastic about taking that up.
Well, we avoid it. That sucked, doesn't it? That's a horrible choice. Man, I don't know if it's gonna kill him or not.
Does the Shadar-Kai, do the Shadar-Kai have any sort of like people they have imprisoned or who have done wrongdoing, criminals of some sort?
Prisoners of war
In their ranks.
Prisoners of war is a very dangerous
not in the army
statement.
here, like in their towns and like civilization, back wherever they come from, for
Prisoners
sure.
of war, very different than criminals.
Right.
Did it seem like the private getting selected was like some sort of an honor?
Oh yeah, he was super excited. Like, dude,
I mean, I
He was
just
pumped.
fuck. That's. I mean, like.
He was a consenting adult.
I mean, I guess. Damn it, consent is important.
I consent to be murdered.
Okay, I mean, like, we don't know if he's gonna die. He's probably gonna die, but we don't know he's gonna die. He's dead. But
Should I gather the troops for a demonstration, mistress?
I mean, I guess.
This could be the most honorable death he could possibly achieve. Like, this is practically humanitarian.
I don't think that's the case, Sheriff Albion. I think we still have to have a very serious discussion with you about morals, human life, but not with me, with someone else. Okay.
Thank you. And now he goes out. He passes the word. He comes back like 10 minutes later. He says, "Mistress, the troops are assembled.
Mm-hmm.
Would you come out?"
Mm-hmm.
Before she goes up on stage, I'm just gonna lay a hand on Enid's shoulder and say, "It's gonna be okay." And I'm gonna cast guidance.
Aezsh says it's going to be okay. Freeze frame. Narrator says everything was not okay.
All right, you guys. So same story as yesterday. You walk out. There's a few hundred troops around. Private Yulishi is in the middle of this kind of clearing. He's like pumped. He's like, "Do me."
I mean, it's hard to argue with how pumped he is, though, right?
Everyone is looking at Enid expectantly.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Why not? Kind of feels I can't get out of it, so I can roll.
All right, so you touch into that little seed of power.
Try my best.
All right.
Try my best also not to kill this dude.
Okay.
Or to severely maim.
So Enid, you're like half dead already. Like you're cold. Like you have one heartbeat a minute.
Yes.
You feel this welling of power, and it's like a cold, but like a burning cold that suffuses your whole being. You kind of jerk out an arm in extension towards the private, and everybody sees this column of black shadows lurch forward from Enid's arm and strike the private. It's almost like it's a fire, but it's all black shadows. You see the private is engulfed in these shadows. You see a handful of like faces come out of the shadows, and they're like taking bites out of the private. who is screaming as this thing consumes him. He goes to his knees. You see his like eyes get shrunken, his cheeks get hollowed, and he goes to his knees. These shadow forms are like chewing into him, and he falls eventually flat on his face. The Shadar-Kai that are assembled around all do a like a kind of hissing noise sound as the private falls on his face. The shadows retreat from him, and there is a moment of dead silence. The moment passes, and Private Yulishi, the body jerks, and a hand comes up and pushes him up. And then he comes to his knees. And then without like normal leverage, he like stands up. It's almost like a robotic sort of motion. And the zombie Yulishi lurches towards Enid. Enid, you may cast Finger of Death once per long rest.
Really?
As the zombie Yulishi shuffles forward, the crowd hisses more, and people seem like super excited. Idahi turns towards you and says, "Thank you, Mistress Enid. Thank you." So
Enid
Idahi,
freaking out silently, trying to keep it together up there, but she's like freaking out.
Okay, yeah, Enid, you can now channel this power on the regular. You've got Yulishi zombie coming out with you everywhere you go.
Oh, he's our friend now.
The army is super on board with you guys. So are you going to go to Blackley Fortress? Is that the next step here?
I think
Think
so.
so.
Yeah, I think that was what we had
So
decided.
it can cause a fight.
Okay. All right. Nidahi dispatches a light infantry unit to join you on the road to Blackley Fortress. Included in that unit is Nashia, whom Falcon, Nashia routinely kind of breaks formation to like walk next to you and just like chats with you and like you kind of trade some barbs and every now and then like you do like some sparring, and she definitely seems to have taken a shine to Falcon.
I get an inside check on that with her. I want to see if she's Russian.
Oh, for sure. You know,
Hell,
give me,
yeah.
Actually, no. What's your insight bonus?
+4.
Okay.
Falcon's been
Hang on.
on my radar recently because he keeps talking about torturing people, so I'm keeping an eye on what he's doing because I'm sus of him at the moment.
All right. As you travel to Blackley Fortress, again, the Shadowfell, it's constant darkness and shadows, but you all start to see in the sky enough light to illuminate some clouds. And Belloryn, you feel a tingling of something. You kind of sniff the air. There's a little bit of the scent of ozone, a little bit like that nice fresh rain smell. And for the first time in months, there is a weather storm nearby, Belloryn. And looking up into the sky, you see that there is a large spiraling cloud storm centered on Blackley Fortress. And you feel a little tingle of electricity, a little tingle of ozone, and it makes you feel like kind of comforted.
I feel weather.
You guys, as you approach Blackley Castle, you see looking up into these, so there's these huge clouds that are spinning, little jolts of lightning leap from cloud to cloud. and there is this powerful weather phenomenon here that is circling above Blackleaf Fortress that seems to be at the center of this huge, powerful working. Belloryn, you get the sense that obviously this is magical in nature. Whatever Lord Aezsh is doing is responsible for this storm. You guys, you approach the fortress. You find the encampment of Shadar-Kai that are here. Your troops join them, and these troops are led by Captain Isiso, who greets you excitedly, recognizes Enid as the Shaddeth. All the troops also very excited. They realize that Yulishi, your zombie, is a manifestation of the Raven Queen's power, and so you don't need to like do the demonstration again. But they realize that you are the Shaddeth and are here to help them. So Captain Isiso makes it clear to you that they need to draw the troops out onto the field of combat, and that is best done by basically threatening them with you being here. So he suggests that you create some display that shows to Lord Aezsh that there are a bunch of heroes here, and they need to take the field to fight you, to try to defeat you before you got into the fortress to fuck with Lord Aezsh's plan. Belloryn, you feel a pull from the clouds. Like you're like, there is lightning up there, and I think I can harness some of that.
Is prestidigitation one of those that can create like a very loud sound or like a booming voice?
Minor illusion can, and I can do that one.
Well, I've got minor illusion as well.
I feel like using some storm magic and maybe also like a big announcement of like the Shaddeth has arrived or something along those lines. You know?
Well, can do. Okay, so before I do this, what we're trying to accomplish is not only letting the troops at the ready around know that we're here and stuff's about to happen, but also something loud enough to let the opposing force know.
Oh, no.
Friends, warriors, best step back just a bit. Just a bit.
Jir steps back a lot.
Yeah, Aezsh steps back a
He
lot.
remembers what happened to Kida.
Yeah, Aezsh
Right.
steps back a lot.
All right, so there are going to be two things that happen. First, I will first cast Thunder Wave to not only create the loud beginning voice, but then I'm going to fly up my 10 feet and then with the whirling airs all over. Behold, the Shaddeth hath come. Enemies perish.
All right, Belloryn, you pull down power. So the power comes from within you, but then you also like there's this ready power right there in the storm. Do you want to reach up and tap that? All right, so you guys all see Belloryn begin to do some casting and reach up to the storm. A bolt of lightning comes down, Belloryn, and you ride that bolt up. You all see this bolt like hold in place and this bright beam of lightning, and Belloryn climbs up it way above your 10 feet that you usually go. Belloryn, you go 50 feet up into the air and extend out this massive thunder wave and minor illusion above it. You see the fortress shakes with the power that you throw against it, and the gates begin to open to have the troops take the field. Belloryn, you land back down. Clutched in your hand is a black bolt of lightning that is about the length of a staff. And this is A, your arcane focus, B, a new magic item.
Ooh.
The doors to Blackleaf Fortress open. The Shadar-Kai, we're not exactly prepared for this. Like, you guys just showed up. Captain Azizu kind of gave you this deal, and then Belloryn's like, all right, let's party. So the Shadar-Kai aren't exactly prepared as Lord Aezsh's troops take the field. So the gates of the fortress open. Skeletal warriors come out. Zombie hordes emerge. A single female-like shape emerges with these swords drawn. And the Shadar-Kai attempt to take the field as best they can, and we will engage in battle next game.
Woo.
Oh my goodness.
Huzzah!